What is up? Welcome back for another episode of The Tailgate Show. It's Double A, it's Air Jer, it's B Diddy. What's up, boys? What's crackalacking? What's the deal? What it be?
Justin Fields third? What?
Never. Who are you talking about? What is that you say? Mac Jones is the only one for Shanahan. What are we listening to, Brian?
I'm just listening. I was listening to that Fat Mike interview, but
Chicago's always been known for their defense, right?
The show started, so
yeah, my phone screwed up. Basically, McMahon said that we just always been known for our defense, and this is where quarterbacks go to die. And the way the media put it out there was like he mentioned Green Bay and then Chicago right away, but there was like probably a 45-minute gap in between the two statements.
Who did forget? I haven't even watched it. So who did he get interviewed by?
Fat Mike, Chicago.
Fat Mike.
Okay.
And it blew up. I mean, it was on like NFL Live. I watched today, and it was on there.
NFL Live, TMZ, PTI.
Right. Good for that, dude. I mean, like smart as usual. To poke the bear, literally poke the Bears fans.
He started off. Yurko was on too, and Mac and Yurko were going back and forth about their days in Green Bay, and he just said it was the best organization I played for. And they also talked later about like how when Holmgren was there, they weren't like having physical practices during the week. In Chicago, they used to beat the shit out of each other in practice. Like things were changing there. It was more laid back. Yeah. He was a backup. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. It was easy on him. But they made it seem like he was comparing the two right off the rip, and that wasn't the case. They blew it out of proportion. And Mac's an honest dude.
He's always been that. It's never been some lovey teddy bear relationship with the organization with him. Like anybody
from the jump.
Yeah.
From the jump. His first day. Right. He came in drinking a beer, and he's like,
right.
Him and Hallis got into it.
Right. I mean, that's why he had between him and the team and him and the league. I mean, dude has always been, a guy who stirs it up. They called him the punky QB. He had the damn headband that said Roselle on it. That wasn't like, come on. Like he was stirring shit up on some level that, nobody had really seen before in the NFL.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so for him to say this is like, number one, I don't fucking care. He can have his opinions. Most of his opinions are right, by the way.
Oh, yeah. ESPN, after he said that, ESPN put up a thing, and it was like zero QB misery, zero starting quarterbacks with above average QBR since Pace has been in Chicago. 0 seasons with a 4,000-yard passer, only active franchise, and 34 different starting quarterbacks since '89, second most in the league.
Right, he's not wrong. That's the thing. It's like, dude is not wrong.
Right.
So you can get all in your feelings, and I love how Bears fans, it's like, oh, we can trash the shit out of the organization, right? But as soon as somebody else does, even if they're a member of the 85 Bears, we get all in our feelings. But then, it's just like, and obviously the waters are murky because he went to the Packers. You know what I mean? Like, but he also showed up to the White House in a Bears jersey as a member of the Packers. Like, he's just the same guy. Like, he's
I'm okay with it, man.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like, say what you want.
We talked about it probably a couple months ago that like we need these big names from the 85 team to step out and say that this is bullshit. Like, it needs to end. And he did that. So like that puts the organization on blast. Maybe they need that shit for once.
Oh, I don't think it's going to have that effect. But
I'm just saying it needs to be out there for once. It can't just be freaking unicorns and rainbows all the time.
Right. Something needs to get into Pleasantville and, and let them know that it's not like shit isn't sweet for everybody. But the problem is that as soon as they extend any type of olive branch, these guys jump on it. Like, this is the same guy who was at Bears 100, fucking waving the flag, dude, like on Mitch Trubisky's jock. Like, I mean, it just like all of us, we all went there. And I think, he's probably like, fuck, I'm tired. Number one, dude's entire life has been about the Bears, right? Like, he's never stopped being asked about it. He's never had any other identity. And that's a blessing and a curse. It has to be. You know, like, he's been trapped in that moment for 40 years.
And I had the opportunity to meet him. He is a great dude. I met him. He was at a golf tournament for the casino near me, and he took his time, man. Like, he answered. I had some questions about what was it like playing with Walter. He was just so cool. Like, probably the most laid back dude you ever want to meet.
Right, and there's not a vindictive bone really in his body, but he has, like, just kind of a little bit of a Loki kind of disruptor vibe about him, that when he has the chance, he's going to take that opportunity to stir shit up. He just always has done that, even if it's detrimental to his own cause, and it has been. And his mouth has gotten him in trouble. His mouth has lost him money. But that's the thing, is that these 85 dudes, they'll get on the bandwagon and they'll wave the flag again, but all of them remember what it was really like to play for that team on that shitty turf in that shitty stadium for no fucking money. Like, these guys have to be on some level bitter about the fact that, you know, they basically laid the foundation for the amount of money that these guys are making now, and they didn't see anywhere close to that money. You know, like, and you could be as cool as. What's that, Alien Jer? That's what I heard.
Well, the thing about Mac too is, like, they were trying to get questions at him about the current team, and he just doesn't. He's not a fan. He's not a fanboy like we are. Like, he's like, I don't follow it.
Right. Like, listen, like, Cutler said that the only reason he's back into the Bears is because his kid is. Like, he now has. Right, but he's been off them since he retired. Like, he's not into them. I'm sure it doesn't feel good to fucking watch them. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how, you know, kind of chill things can be now, he admitted the fact that he wouldn't watch the Bears at all if it wasn't for his teenage son being super into football now. You know what I mean? And so he's gotten back into it, and he started to watch them, and you see him kind of, you know, around the edges of the organization, and he was here for the, you know, his wife opening that store and whatever. So, like, you know, it's just funny to watch how this goes, because there's always like a partially good relationship between the Bears and their former players, but all of them got some shit in the game. Like, there's not really any that are really perfect. You know what I mean? Like, when push comes to shove, they all will tell you, like, it didn't really end the way it should have, or I wish this had been that way, or I'm kind of salty about this. Like, I can't really think of, you know, and not to say they haven't done right by dudes, but I just feel like a lot of guys, you know, that are beloved by the fan base and the organization to some degree have a little bit of bitterness towards the team.
I agree, man. Definitely.
And that may be true of all organizations. I don't know. I mean, it's not on any, like, Detroit Lions level or anything. But I'm just saying there's some salty dudes. I mean, like, Forte is salty. You know. Briggs is salty. Urlacher's got some salt, clearly. Like, I don't know if Peanut has salt.
Hey.
I mean,
unsalted peanut.
Yes. If he, Mr. Peanut, got salt, but I don't know if he. But I mean, you know, I think a lot of anyone that was on the 2006 team is just bitter because they didn't win it. You know, I mean, you hear Thomas Jones, so it's just whatever. Like, people, it's just fucking slow news day. People gonna run with it. TMZ picked it up. It got huge.
No, but I was seeing stuff like, "Oh, fuck McMahon." It wasn't that, man. Like, he was just doing like this, and then you wonder why people don't want to, like, jump on podcasts. Like,
well, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy heat. It's easy heat.
I mean, and that's what's weird, is that McMahon could definitely, like, as much as I say he likes to disrupt shit, if he wanted to be that type of personality, he could easily have gone that route. Like, he could easily have a radio show, like a syndicated. I think he could if he really wanted to, but I don't think he likes to live in that space, because he's
also batting a lot of head stuff too. Like,
Oh, for sure. I mean, all those dudes are. I mean, Jesus, what the hell? I mean, that from that one hit that took him out of 86, like...
Yep. Cheap bastard.
Right. Like...
One thing he did say, they were talking about how much easier it is to play now when him and Yurko were on, and he was like, "Oh man, if I could play in spread offenses," he was like,
not
get hit,
right? Getting protected, like, I mean, like having that, I mean, he got protected by an offensive line, but I mean, they used to let the quarterbacks get killed.
And that's what killed me. That's what killed me about Mitch, man. That's why it was so frustrating because we've been fans a long time. We remember those days when quarterbacks get blasted, and the game. Now the game's set up for quarterbacks to succeed. Like that's why it was even more frustrating.
Right. It's like you gotta be an idiot. You gotta really be an idiot to get yourself hurt at the quarterback position, and that's why Mitch got hurt twice because he's a fucking idiot. Like,
say what you mean to say.
Oh, I mean, like
my Notre Dame boy in Minnesota there, he's a freaking dirty ass freaking player too. I mean, he hit him when he was on the ground.
Well, don't be a running back then.
Smith is dirty sometimes though.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, Andrew Zendejo and all those guys too. Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about that dude. But I'm just saying, like, you're right though. Like McMahon was never afforded that type of protection. You know what I mean? Like they would let them play.
He threw his body out there too, quite a bit too.
Sure, but that was expected.
Linemen and shit.
That was expected, and also they were so jacked up on painkillers. Like in the 80s, they were rocking between cocaine and painkillers like a fucking elevator, man. Like every day, just up and down, up and down, and up and down, and greenies. And I mean, 80s football was like on some other shit with the drugs. Like, like the shield is too strong, so they'll never talk about it like this. And the code is too strong. You don't hear it come out, but it's like there's a reason why dudes' livers got destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, and then that's not even to mention the drinking.
Sorry, I looked at the comments. I need to.
Our boy Wyatt's in there. Wyatt's in there.
Easy.
Wyatt, hey Wyatt, why don't you do us a favor, Wyatt, and look up a picture of Trey Lance's dad, just real quick. Tell me what he looks like, whether or not he looks like a black guy to you. Dumbass.
It's his 21st birthday tonight.
Shut the fuck up. That's awesome. Wyatt, 21. How about that?
Well, actually, at midnight he turns 21.
Did you buy him some
Wyatt's trying to say your ass was trying to say he was white last week, and people didn't tune in last week. Wyatt is Eric Jair's nephew, and he's a Vikings fan. If you don't know, and so he comes on and talks about the Vikings, and also loves to be in the chat talking about the fucking Vikings. But he decided to tell us that Trey Lance was not a black quarterback last week. That he was like some sort of white Native American.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, wait, what is that? That doesn't even exist. What are you talking? Anyway, so we're just clowning him for that because Trey Lance is clearly black, mixed, whatever. But he's not that it fucking matters either way, but it's just funny. So, Trey Lance.
Oh, okay, we'll go there.
Trey Lance. I've been joking around that he is Bigfoot, that there's more tape on Bigfoot, more tape on the Loch Ness Monster. Like, this guy is like a legend, but nobody's seen him do anything. And Diddy, you've been championing him, and I sit there and I look at the game logs and I see
we're talking draft. We're
talking about if Trey Lance is anything. Like, what the fuck is Trey Lance? Like, I know he's a physical specimen. Like, so is Ryan Leaf. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. Like, dude obviously has the, oh Lord, the trucker hat is in.
Oh my God.
Hey, let me get a pack of Marlboro Reds and a Slim Jim and a lighter. And what else? What else you got back there?
There it is.
There he is, the big hat.
All right, man. So Trey Lance.
So yeah, tell me why I should fucking really think that Trey Lance is gonna do something and be something.
Back in March, Daniel Jeremiah comped him to Steve McNair, and when I heard that and I started watching a little more on him, I could see that he runs with toughness. He's a big, strong guy. He has really good touch, big arm. He runs a pro.
Did the video speak to you?
I'm not saying that, but he played in an NFL style offense. And he if you actually look at his production in his best year there, he had better numbers than Wentz. I mean, everybody was drooling over Wentz.
Better than Wentz is not enough for me.
What I'm trying to tell you is
I don't fucking like Wentz. I've never liked Wentz. I didn't want Wentz when the Bears were talking about, where people were talking about the Bears getting him. I don't like. So you saying that that fucking Lance is better than Wentz is meaningless to me.
Right. Okay. But I think if you really look at what this kid has, I think there's things that could be extremely special. And there's elite traits there, in my opinion. I think the kid has a really, really good arm. And I think that if he came out next year, because he's a redshirt sophomore, he's 20 years old, if he's brought into a situation where he can develop and sit for a season, he's going to come out and ball, man.
I'm going to tell you that Trey Lance runs the similar offense as the kid from BYU. They all pretty much run the same offense. Mm-hmm. And the kid from BYU's got zip on his ball. Like when he wants to rifle it, he can let it rip. Trey Lance does not have that. He does not have that velocity. To me.
Well, no, I mean, I also think, if you're really nitpicking, like he has a longer throwing motion. He reminds me of Kaepernick. And I know as people are going to say, oh, it's just you're comparing, black quarterback to a black quarterback. I'm not. I'm just saying that his body style, his size, Kaepernick was an insane physical specimen. Could throw the ball like 100 yards, but just kind of had that long release. I just don't know what the comp is for a guy who's played this little against nobody. Like literally nobody. He's playing against glorified high school teams. There are high school teams in Texas that could probably beat some of the teams that he's playing against. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't like, and he doesn't even throw the ball. He's thrown the ball more than 25 times, like 3 times ever. And he had like a 50% completion percentage most of the time when he did it. Like, just like, being in a championship game and throwing the ball like 12 times. This is not a guy that I'm like, oh my God, look at him. And people want to talk about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has a full body of work, 2.5 seasons of starts, through like a ton of touchdowns, a ton of yards, threw the ball a ton of times. Like, this guy seems like, just a project.
No, see, Munn seems like a project to me. I think Lance. There's things that if you watch him, he shows maturity. He looks off the safety. I don't
give a shit about Mond because we're not talking about trading up to get Mond. If we got Mond, you're talking about 83 and lower. That's what I'm looking at Kellen Mond at. I know people are full of shit and they're saying first round Mond, second round Mond. No, if the Bears take Mond, I'm talking third round or lower. That's not the same as trading up. And I know it's like whatever.
I just said he's like Josh Allen.
Okay, but what? I don't know how much Josh Allen played, but I know that playing at Wyoming is a hell of a lot better than and you play better teams, in whatever big Mountain West 12 whatever than you play in Trey Lance's bunk ass conference, South Dakota State Tech. Like, come on. Like it's just you watch him and you go, damn, that's a good quarterback. Like, you watch his pro day, you watch, highlight reel, but like, you're trying to tell me that a 7-for-14 game against a quintuple A school, like, I just can't see trading up for him, but they'll probably fucking do it, because they know it's going to buy them another 3 years of a job. and we're gonna be making Trey Lance memes in like a year and a half.
God. No, go with it, Brian. You watched him. You watched him more than anyone.
Sell him to me. I'll shut up and you sell him to me.
I like the fact that he spreads the ball around. He shows good command of the offense. I mean, he's the kind of person that the guys rally around. I like the kid. I like him a lot. He's 20 years old. If he he's a redshirt sophomore, and if he decided to stay, he'd probably be the number 1 overall pick next year.
Well, then he should stay. He should have stayed than coming out after this year where he literally played 1 game.
Another thing I like about him, I know we're talking about he went to a small school. He had Division I offers to play safety at Minnesota, I believe, or something along those lines. He wanted to play quarterback. It's kind of the same thing like
Lamar Jackson.
Same kind of thing where this kid wasn't going to be told no, and I think that there's something to be said for that too. And I believe that what was it? There was another quarterback that's in this draft that I think Wisconsin. I think Hogue was saying they could have had both of them. It wasn't Fields. It was Lance and another guy that's in the top 5. I think it might have been Wilson. Okay, Wilson and Lance could have ended up in Wisconsin, and something.
Wow.
It just didn't happen, but. It's I have a lot of respect for the fact that he stuck to his guns and played the position that he has the most passion for, man. I think I like him. He has a quick release. There's another thing that's kind of cool to me is that there's no dip on his velocity when he's throwing off the run. Like
who can forget in the championship game against James Madison when in the 4th quarter he rushed for 44 yards. Oh, and he scored a touchdown against the powerhouse that is James Madison. And then that fucking sweet ass FCS football championship when they won 28-20.
So basically,
you're James Madison Dukes.
You would never take a quarterback that hasn't played Division I, is what you're telling me.
And he's an RPO QB, and I like that too. So
I mean, I'm just being honest.
Trading, it just doesn't. I mean, it just feels so risky. This is not Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's not.
No, it's not. This is a guy that, like Daniel Jeremiah, comped to Steve McNair, and I loved McNair. I don't like throw comparisons all the time, but it's a good one.
I just wish he had played a little more, or go in the transfer portal.
I'm not saying this kid comes in and starts. Right. I think. I mean, the Bears kind of have a situation that could potentially be similar to Kansas City if they get the right rookie, right? Because you have a guy that's very similar to Alex Smith and Andy Dalton, and I think they can get that out of Andy Dalton if things go smooth and the O-line's protecting. If Nagy did help, no matter how you want to slice it, he did help develop Mahomes. He had a hand in that. Yes. This guy knows.
And Mahomes, as prolific as Mahomes was, and yes, it's the Big 12, but there are NFL players all throughout the Big 12. There's Trey Lance will be the only NFL player that comes out of that school, this year. It's not, I mean, there's multiple NFL players on, every year that go into the NFL from the Big 12.
Yeah, and I'm not taking him over Fields. I would take him over Mac Jones.
I am just saying I would not like to see the Bears trade whatever it takes to get up to 4 for Trey Lance. If Trey Lance is there at 15 and you can
He won't be.
Okay, but if something crazy happens, and he is, right? I don't think he will be either. He'll go to the Broncos. But let's say they jump up in front of the Broncos. They get Carolina's pick. I still think that's too much to pay for him. I would
be okay if they traded up to 4 and the options maybe.
You have no idea.
Maybe Fields If Fields is there or Lance, I'd be happy with either one of them.
I just think it's weird how now the quarterback position, so many of these talent evaluators are falling in love with measurables again. Or, I don't know, I mean, I guess they never really fall out of love with them. But
I think
just
we
look at
learned
a guy,
about measurables, though. Did we not? Did we not learn about measurables in our last draft with Mitch Trubisky?
And look at the guys who are at the top of the league. Look at fucking, Drew Brees and tell me that he's, I mean, like that guy threw for 75,000 yards and he's like 5'11", with lifts in. And like, I mean, if you saw him walking down the street, you'd be like, oh, there goes a science teacher or the guy that sells fucking rock climbing shoes at the
measurables with Trubisky. He was 6 feet tall. What was he like? What was the Mitch?
No, but his dynamic playmaking ability, his ability to.
There was nothing dynamic on tape, bro. Like if you go back and watch Mitch, it was like he was throwing behind guys. I thought he presented the most pro-ready look eventually.
So how did so many guys get sprung on him? It wasn't just Pace. We've been over this a million times.
Sprung on Mac Jones,
He was supposedly the most pro-ready quarterback in the draft.
Right, and fucking
yeah. So was Josh Rosen. Okay.
Right, and McShay this week said he thinks Kyle Trask is the most fucking NFL ready quarterback right now. He doesn't have the super high ceiling, but he thinks he's the most ready to go in there and play right away.
Really?
Other than Lawrence. In the second tier of guys, they were asking about that. Waddle and Sylvie were asking about the second tier of guys.
Oh, okay.
Your Trask, your Davis Mills, your Mond. That's basically kind of recognized as the second tier of quarterbacks. And he said Davis Mills was a 5-star recruit. Was that Coach Shaw at Stanford thought he was could be the next Andrew Luck, but he got hurt. So what McShay was saying is that, if he gets a clean bill of health, which is what's interesting right now is that you're getting the medical results from that portion of the combine that did happen in Indianapolis. They still had a medical examination and that just happened. So that's what's going on right now is that the teams are getting this information and they're processing that and they're having their, and Fields had another pro day and now
he was there.
Right.
Yeah, Nagy was there in full incognito.
Wyatt says he'd take Lance over Fields. You're out of your mind, Wyatt. You're out of your mind. That's crazy.
I tend to agree with that.
Like Fields is every bit the physical prospect, but he's also proven it on the biggest stage against future NFL players. Like,
didn't Fields break his ribs before they played Clemson?
Yes.
He got
and he still fucking outdueled Trevor Lawrence. Like, that game alone should, like, if Trevor Lawrence played that game, you would not stop hearing about the legend of Trevor Lawrence more than you already have.
And I love, Wyatt's bringing up the IU game. Jared brought up the IU game. Like, great. Right. Y'all still lost, and he still threw for 300 yards and rushed for, 75. Yeah, he threw 3 picks. Okay.
Right.
You should be happy that you gave him a hard time. It's not that he sucks. On a bad day, he threw for 300 yards.
No, but what that game showed is that if you blitz him early, sometimes you can get him in trouble.
They probably were sleeping when they played you guys because, historically, you guys are pretty shitty. So it might have been one of those games where, oh, shit, it's IU. We're going to do our thing. And you guys kind of stepped up and gave him a hard time. It happens.
Well, they gave him exotic looks, and it forced him into making tough decisions. And Jamar Johnson made a highlight reel out of it.
Well, dude, I mean, and you know what?
I'm just saying that's what it was.
Right. On any given Saturday, sometimes a coach can come up with a scheme that works. Anybody can be schemed against.
Yeah, and he threw two picks. Two picks were on him. One pick bounced off the freaking receiver's gut. It was
except for the most elite guys, you can get schemed against. You know what I mean? And they guys just don't have an answer. But I mean, like literally 18 for 30, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's like people acting like, yeah, he had 3 picks, but like acting like he was just dominated.
And they won.
Like, right. And Ohio State won the fucking game. Like, it's like, and that's with Michael Penix throwing for 5 touchdowns and almost 500 yards. Like.
Penix
had Ohio State's defense was rough at times this season, too.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if that's what's causing you to doubt Fields, you're just looking for a reason to doubt him. Because Trevor Lawrence has had some bad games too.
Oh yeah, Ohio State,
big bad games, like at bad times. Like, and the other thing about Fields is that he's kind of. I mean, well, not to. I mean,
he's my favorite quarterback in this draft, and I was a big Lawrence fan at Clemson.
He's just getting. People see the helmet, and I'm guilty of this, and you just think there's no way an Ohio State quarterback can be good. I tried to doubt Fields based on that because I can't see it. I see Craig Krenzel. I see, fucking Cardale Jones. I see Haskins. I see, fucking just a parade of mediocrity at quarterback. And even when they put up numbers, it's like it's not, they're doing it because they have an enormous offensive line. They're running the shit out of the ball. Braxton Miller, Wyatt, same thing. Like, these dudes are paper tigers, they don't have, but Fields, I mean, the more you watch him, it's just like, nah, this dude's different. Like,
Fields out all the ones you mentioned, though. I think some of those guys that fell off when they got to the NFL, they had more weapons around them in college. I think Fields is a guy that makes people better around him. It's not like he had prolific guys all around him. Like,
that's true.
Those other guys have more weapons.
We're gonna see how many Ohio State players do you think will get drafted this year?
But on offense, Jer, who's Ohio State's best receiver? I don't know.
Olave.
Okay, but is he a first-round pick? No.
No, he's probably second or third if he's going.
Mac Jones has 3 first-round picks
on
his team. I know, but I'm just saying, like, Fields, it's like, you have to, like, think about it. Like, like...
I mean, imagine Fields with Trask's weapons.
Teague is not going in the first round, the running back, Ohio State running back. Like, it's just, it's not, like... like if you put Fields on Alabama, oh my God. Like, it would be a wrap. Like, you think Tua is worshipped? Shit. Fields would be like, I mean, it would be a wrap. Like, it would be crazy.
I think Mac Jones will be available at 20 boys.
You think?
I don't know, man. That's
God, that's going to be that's going to be so awkward if he's available.
Oh, if they pass on him, do people boo?
We got to hear more about it, I guess, but it is a putrid look.
So, if you don't know what we're talking about, Benjamin Albright tweeted out, he said something like, yes, I've seen the picture that his sister tweeted out. I don't know if it's him in the costume. He's got other things he needs to explain to prospective NFL teams before he gets to that.
The DUI, the fake ID.
That's the point. Like, that's the shit that gets glossed over with him. And that's another example of why, Justin Fields is,
getting shafted.
Is completely getting treated with a double standard. Because if he had anything close to that in his past, he wouldn't even be in the discussion in it, as a top 5 guy. Like, he probably, you know what I mean? Like,
I'd have to agree.
Like, Mac Jones is just Teflon. Like, it's like Mac Jones looks, like a bum ass with his shirt off. And
you got people shitting on Lawrence for tweets, but Mac Jones is just like.
Yeah, for some reason, Mac Jones is just like Teflon. Like I don't understand.
Holy water.
So here's this picture that his sister tweeted in 2012 when Mac Jones was 13 or 12 years old, by the way. So
you're gonna show
no, I'm not. I'm not excusing what is in the picture necessarily, although I really don't think it's that insane. There is a picture that his sister tweeted And it's a picture of someone wearing a Barack Obama costume. It has a mask. It's not blackface. He has a mask. It's an Obama mask. They make masks of every president ever. They've been doing it forever. And he has an American flag like suit and a sash that says "No Obama." Well, so whoever is wearing this costume, because
with dreads,
but you don't know that that's not that person's hair.
Dude.
Like, why would they put a dread wig underneath a mask that doesn't even make any sense, Brian?
It doesn't make any sense. The fucking costume doesn't make any sense.
Just what I'm saying is that his sister sent a picture in 2012 on Twitter and did @Mac Jones and sent the picture. Like, haha, look at this picture. It's not he's in the picture.
Even if it's not him,
that's him.
The fact that that's humor to them is not good.
What, that they don't like Obama? I voted for Obama twice, so I'm not an Obama hater. Like, people on Twitter can get off of this, like I'm fucking MAGA or some shit. Like, people acting like that over this,
It's a bad look, bro.
It's not that bad of a look. If you saw it from another quarterback and you knew it was them, what would you say? I don't think you would trip out on it. Like, he's got more things to worry about. Just like
in the current environment, though, it's like, of course, this is going to come up. These things.
I know, but it's like
here's the situation: San Francisco at 3, right? You had a quarterback that got blackballed for the league for taking a stance that he had every right to take, and you look at it now. God, he was right? And that guy was on your squad, and now you're going to take this guy that has racist undertones?
Possibly.
Potentially?
Yes. Well, I mean, if you're a team, you're going to check it out. I mean, you're going to check it out. You're going to check into it and ask him point blank, is that you? And if it is him, then you're going to have to make a decision, because at some point that's going to come out that it was him.
And why? I'm sorry, man. That comment,
but
bro.
It isn't like Obama had his Obama costume had a noose around it or something. He's not wearing blackface. He didn't. It was political. And I know that that's not allowed these days. And I'm far from just okay with anything that goes on. But I'm just saying, like, to me, I don't look at that and go, oh my God, that's so horrible. Because like I said, you have no proof that it's actually fucking him. And if it is found out that it's him, I'm still not going to trip. I'm going to be like, what's up with your other shit? What's up with your DUI shit? I mean, dudes have gone through worse. You know what I mean? Like, he was 13 or 12 years old. Like, it's not even that big.
It doesn't matter. There's no excuse, man. Like, that comment about it in 2012 was a different time. I don't want to hear the bullshit, man. I don't agree with it. I don't care what time it was. I don't care.
Right, that's fine. I'm just saying,
I
just feel like it's ridiculous that people are digging for this shit. Just like they made up all that work ethic stuff about Fields, and people were running with that, and that took on a life of its own. Like,
well, I think part of the problem is people are gonna dig because you have this narrative about Justin Fields and people questioning his shit, and you got this Mac Jones is like the savior of quarterbacks. Nothing, and people are looking because you're making that situation. I don't, but there's nothing. I mean, to tweet that shit out is just.
Oh, it's stupid, but again, they were kids. And my thing is, this is like, if you are an athlete or you think you are going to go in the top of the draft, how do you not pay somebody to go and scrub your social media? Like, he should have scrubbed his social media 2 years ago. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how you leave and I know it never really disappears, but you can't just leave it up and make it like searchable.
Well, his sister deleted it tonight.
Of course she did, because it's even if it's not them, and if it was just a funny picture that she tweeted and the sentiment is the scandal, which is to be a fucking joke if that's really the case. Even if it's just that, it's not worth leaving it up. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand how you're not smarter than that. Like,
you're you're asking a guy that got a fake ID, DUIs, to be smart.
Okay,
because he thinks he's above it.
But now he's got an agent.
The mentality of an athlete is that, especially an elite athlete, that they're Teflon. They can't be touched.
But you now have an agency that you have signed with. You have people that are about to make millions of dollars off of you, whose job it is to be smart on your behalf.
Oh, they've done a great job building him up.
Yeah, I just think it's weird. Like, number one, I never
heard coach weight in the NFL. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I was never quite willing to believe that Shanahan would really take Mac Jones. But then I started to, come up with, he's just like Matt Ryan, blah, blah, blah. You start to believe it. I mean, if this shit gets circulated enough, eventually you just start to believe it because you're like, damn, it just keeps getting said. I mean, the same thing happened with the Russell Wilson trade rumors. It just kept getting said, and so we started to believe it. You know what I mean? It keeps getting said and said and said and said, and you're like, holy shit, this could really happen. And it's so far from the truth.
There's just no excuse. Like, now I'm seeing comments. He was a 12-year-old kid. I don't give a fuck. It's one thing to say I don't like him as a president. It's another thing to take it to that level and be disrespectful. Because you're a 12-year-old kid, but you're learning it from somewhere. Even if it's not you dressed up as him, it's a fucking joke to you. Like it just, I thought I took it. I have no fucking tolerance for that bullshit. Sorry. I don't care what age.
I don't know if it was him.
You want to say it's too young? It's a learned thing then.
I agree. I mean, chances are. I mean, most people are racist, man. Like, I'm not even talking about that. Like, wherever he came up, he had racist uncles and aunts and maybe parents and friends and all that shit. I mean, who knows what he is and what he is? I'm not even saying it. I'm just saying it's crazy the lengths that people go to find the shit, and I don't understand why somebody doesn't go and do a better job of finding it first before fucking Twitter
gets you dig on people, you're gonna find bullshit no matter what the subject matter is, I'm sure. I mean, remember when Mitch liked kissing titties?
Yeah.
Right. And that was and then he tried to say his friends
to just kind of show that it all comes out.
I totally believe it was his friends. I don't think Mitch saw titty until he got in the NFL.
Right. Jim McMahon, and let me say, Jim McMahon would never survive the Twitter era.
Oh, God, none of them would.
No. Like, those guys rolled around in anonymity back then. Like, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, somebody put up a thing like, who would you want to party with? Like, what former athlete of your favorite team would you most want to party with? And I said Mongo. But I want to do it in 1986.
Yes.
Mongo in 1986, good Lord, that would have been an adventure.
He would have put us to bed a few times, I'd bet.
Fuck,
like, bro. No, like, boy, you can't hang.
I would definitely use a time machine on that. Go back and party with Mongo in 1986. Lordy, that would be a trip.
It would be something. I know that.
That's all. So I think, it's basically a fait accompli that Justin Fields is going to the 49ers, which it always fucking was, unless you're.
I didn't think it. I definitely thought they were going to take him. I'd be shocked if it. Yeah.
Well, and then there was a report that the Jets apparently were offered the 49ers original pick with the 12th for Sam Darnold.
So that almost makes you think Jones was real.
They were worried about Zach Wilson's shoulder, and so they didn't want to do that because they thought, we might need Darnold.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Right.
I mean, I just and still people want me to believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the 49ers next year, which I still don't know if I believe. Mm-mm. I know they have the money and it's like whatever, but somebody's still got to write that check.
Yeah, if they were to take Lance, though, I think that you might see that.
I just don't. You see them taking Lance? I just don't see that. I think that
it's all over right now. It's all over the place. Like I was going to tell you, JT O'Sullivan, he did his top 6, which I was surprised with because I really like his work, but I don't agree with his top 6. He had Zach Wilson 1, Trevor Lawrence 2, Mac Jones 3, Kellen Mond 4.
Whoa.
Justin Fields 5 and Lance 6. And I'm like,
wow.
The Mond thing I don't get. The Wilson over Lawrence I don't get at all. But
the positive spin on Kellen Mond is that he has the tools and the ceiling still, but he also has played a lot.
Over Fields, though? I don't know.
I wouldn't ever tell you that. I think that's crazy.
the one knock some guys would tell you about Fields is that he waits for his receivers to get open instead of throwing them open.
Yes, there's a guy that does that. Jared, you were in our chat. You were right though. That you see a lot of Russell Wilson in him.
Yes, I do.
But he's bigger and faster.
Yeah, he's faster. He's definitely faster.
He's a bigger guy too.
So. Well, and then somebody pointed out that he's been throwing. He switched his feet up. That apparently Shanahan did the same thing with Matt Ryan. Like switched his first position feet placement, so that now his right foot is back. And I guess he did the same thing with Matt Ryan when he got a hold of him, and that helped a ton. And people are noticing that in the pro day.
He's a baseball player too. He played baseball, and you could kind of see it in his release. But
I just love what I love is
to go back to the Wilson comparison, Jerry.
Back when
both baseball guys,
right. And what I love is that back when it was fashionable to trash Murray and Mahomes and these dudes in the air raid and, they're supposedly bad mechanics. Like, that was like 4 years ago that it was like in vogue to trash dudes like this. Now it's all about, the off-platform throws and the making things happen when everything breaks down and all this shit. It's like, now you like that stuff? Now you like the guy who throws the ball like he's a shortstop, trying to turn two, like a third baseman playing the hot corner. You like that shit now? Now you're cool with that, right? Like the NFL is so corny like that.
ESPN Plus, go back and watch it. They did draft misses on ESPN Plus, and they had Kuiper in there, and they went over like Ryan Leaf, Russell, Andre Ware, Couch, and all the misses that they had with their predictions. It was really interesting, man.
Nobody knows, man. I mean, like quarterbacks, like 40% at best.
And Kuiper said, no, like the traits that you look for, they said, what's changing your analysis? And he's like, not really anything. You're still looking for those same traits, the big arm. I remember him saying when I think it was Jamarcus Russell, he said he had the best combine he's ever seen.
Right.
Like this is like hot take season.
Absolutely, it's fucking insane. I mean, I'm clearly not an expert on any of this. Anybody that thinks I act like I am, I don't know where you're coming from that. But
it's all
my thing is, like, the one thing that I will say that I have found it to be consistent in, like, okay, I like this guy or I don't like this guy, and it's generally been fairly accurate, is, and I've said this before, that 10 to 15 yard out route, outside the hashes from the pocket, can they make that throw with on a guy that's in tight coverage? That's an NFL throw to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's 3rd and 11. Everybody knows you're throwing. Can you
fit it
hit
in
that 5-step drop and, to the sideline, throw it where your guy can make a play and get a first down? And it's got to be thrown with pace, and it's got to be, accuracy. That's the NFL throw. And I just see, I see guys in college that can make those throws. They get the chance to make those throws. That's what's hard, is that a lot of guys don't even get the chance to make that type of throw. You know what I mean? That's just not the offenses they run in college. They're not going to do that. And not, and I'm not talking about with play action. I'm just saying you sit back there in the pocket, 5-step, boom, boom, boom. Ball is out, zip, first down, on the hands, where only your guy can get it. And the guys that can do that, generally, it translates. I mean, and that's why I was a fan of Mac Jones. That's also why I'm a fan of Justin Fields. I see him do that. A lot of these guys like Lawrence and Zach Wilson, all I see them do is stand there untouched for 10 seconds and heave the ball downfield to a wide open dude.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like Fields, I feel the same way I did about Watson, and Watson got a lot of bullshit coming out, like his ball velocity. There's so many excuses they were making for why he wouldn't succeed. Right. And I just feel like Fields has that same vibe to me, where you could just see this kid is talented. You see the impact he has on the team around him. The kid, and to say he doesn't care, kid played with broken ribs. Like he's the one he's the one that came out and said we want to play. Like he started that petition.
Actually, he's the one that started help to get the Big Ten to even play.
Exactly. This kid's that dude, man. And
tight window throws, like all of it. He's got all the shit, and plus he can run. But it's like,
by the way, he's a quarterback first. Oh, by the way, he runs a 4.40.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's insane the level of disrespect that this dude has gotten. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. Like
speaking of disrespect, did you see the Devin? Sorry, I know this is completely off topic.
Go ahead.
Did you see the Devin Hester tweet?
It wasn't
that dude that like tried to say something about Patterson and Josh Cribbs.
Yeah, he came off at me and said, "Educate yourself." Because my response to him was, Devin Hester was part of the reason they changed the rule. He was that dominant. Oh, do your homework. So I came at him. I said, "Yeah, they got rid of the wedge and they moved it up to the 35." Like I know what I'm versed on this, bro. He didn't come back at me after that, but like,
that dude's a straight clown. Like if you don't understand that Hester is one of the best return men of all time, if not the best, you don't get it. Like you don't understand anything. Like you could, and I've seen people make the half-ass argument that technically Cordarrelle Patterson, just if you say kickoffs only,
right,
which is okay, fine.
Rule change.
Right.
You can make that argument for Patterson.
Right. It's just insane. Whatever. Devin Hester's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I hope he gets in. I hope that I hope that Pompey, is the guy that's lobbying for him. Right. He was on the committee for Urlacher. I think what Devin Hester has going for him is he has a highlight reel like nobody else.
No.
This even dude's highlight reel.
Ex-Bear Cordarrelle Patterson, let's say that too. He's a Falcon now.
He should go in as a specialist. I mean, like cornerback was brutal, wide receiver, but
he was better at wide receiver than he got credit for.
He was better at wide receiver than he was at cornerback.
If I would love to see him at wide receiver in these modern offenses. I know we've said this before, but if you gave Devin Hester to Andy Reid and
the Tyreek Hill position,
maybe not the complete, not like Tyreek. I don't know if it's fair to put him in that category, but to put him in like the next tier of guys, you know what I mean? Like I can't remember the dude that they have, the other super fucking fast guy the Chiefs have. Like I guarantee you they could figure some shit out. It's not like Hester was not productive. He had like a 700-yard season, like I mean,
like this
receiver with 700 yards.
This isn't like a Steve Smith situation, though, where he was a return man that got put in at receiver.
But I'm just saying, like, he gets shit on as a receiver, and I don't know that they ever really, gave him a chance. Now, it's possible, that he's the type of guy that, in a complex Matt Nagy type of situation, it'd be just like Anthony Miller, where it's like he doesn't, get with the program fast enough. He doesn't, kiss the ring. And all this, and then he gets gets basically like benched.
Dude, imagine Steve Smith now.
Cool.
Yes. Well, that's what people say that Rondell Moore kid is.
He's pretty fast.
But he's also like a brawler. Like that dude, he's a tackle breaker.
I'll have to check because probably next week we'll talk about the guys that are being mocked to the Bears and kind of get into more of a breakdown on them. But like, has anybody heard anything about Jalen Waddle? Like, I was interested in his medicals because he smashed his ankle up. Like if he's there at 20,
that hasn't come out. Didn't he break his leg?
Ankle smashed it.
Okay, right. So I don't know, but that's what, like I just said, the medical is coming. So, and that's not going to come out. I mean,
if he drops for some weird reason, which I haven't really looked into it, but like that's a dude that could be a Tyreek Hill.
Well, and see, that's the question is, and I've seen Bears fans this whole, last couple of weeks swearing that it's got to be tackle at 20. Like, you can't.
If something weird happens, like a Jalen Waddle's there, oof.
Right. Like, if they're really sitting at 20, I think they have enough needs to just really truly go best player available. I wouldn't be mad at anybody that they take at 20, except for I don't even know. Like I mean, they could if they reach on a tight end or a safety, that would be stupid. But if they go cornerback and they end up with Farley or fucking somehow Surtain or Newsome, Surtain Folsom or Newsome, I'd be fine with that.
With that in the universe, we're drafting a safety now.
Well, there's no safety that you would take at 20, but
with the run on quarterbacks, we're gonna get a little bang for our buck if they do it right at 20.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Because you got to think that the Bengals are going to take Jamar Chase or they're going to take Penny Sewell. I'm not.
The quarterback's best friend's a tight end. That's all I'm saying.
Well, another thing is these teams.
Tight ends in this draft, though. I mean,
the team's looking for tackles early.
Firemouth, or whatever the fuck, the Penn State guy, after Pitts. Pitts. Right, and you Jared, you this week controversially, I think, advocated that the Bears should trade up to 4 for Pitts.
I said, what would you do if they traded up for Pitts?
No,
if you think
equity for
Travis Kelce of the offense,
bro, I would burn the house to the ground.
You know how hard it is to predict a tight end, and they don't come.
I agree.
I don't know. I mean, quarterback stuff.
How many tight ends have we had in our since fucking?
I mean, I thought O.J. Howard was going to be a complete
animal. You cannot draft a tight end if you don't have the quarterback. You can't.
Dalton could light him up.
He did it with Notre Dame kid.
Our guy Dusty said, said on Twitter, from Packer lore, said, what if the Packers were to trade up for Pitts? And I was like, oh my God, no. Like, that would be a nightmare for us. But they won't do it. That's not Gutekunst's style.
Yeah, that's a lot of equity for a tight end.
That's insane amount like that.
If you're Matt Nagy and you've been missing this part of your offense and you know how key it is.
No, Jared. No.
You wouldn't do it. Okay. That's all.
Not with fucking Andy Dalton.
You're only moving up if the quarterback that you really covet is there.
Right. Like if you are the Dolphins and you already think you have your quarterback, yes. You take him because you have that pick already. But you trade up? No. Fuck no. For a tight end? Come on. What is
you're talking this year's first and the next 2 easily to get up to 4. Yeah.
Which is crazy how much it's gone up to get up to 4. Like it used to be. I mean, even when the Rams moved up and then the Eagles moved up for Carson Wentz, the cost was not so high.
Right, but I think they're starting to realize how much of a crapshoot these first round picks are.
Right.
Even then,
what's crazy is that they don't ever pan out. Like most of them,
isn't the hit rate like 30%? I might be shooting that a little high on a first round pick.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the Bears are trumping up their William Perry pick today.
Nice.
I was like, oh boy, yeah.
He was a freak though.
He was a freak, and it was a shock that he was drafted in the first round because people didn't,
And I'm happy for Cordero that he found a spot in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like,
good for Atlanta fans are gonna love him.
Yeah, he was just too expensive for us here, and people were like, "Oh, I don't understand the love fest for him." Well, he was a great guy with the fans. He was very interactive.
He was a bright.
He was a bright spot.
Aside from that, he's an All-Pro.
Yeah,
not a Pro Bowler. Not a Pro Bowler, but an All-Pro. The Bears don't have very many of those. All right? Like, it sucks that it's not some great, huge loss that we can't recover from. No, it is not. But it sucks that we can't afford this dude because they thought they were going to have about $30 more million than they do.
Yeah.
Like, he's just an unfortunate casualty of the fact that the Bears' salary cap situation is garbage.
And it's still not over, really.
And you took away a guy.
Fuller, too.
You took away a guy who, on average, during the season, made probably 5 to 7 game-changing plays.
Yep.
Whether as a gunner or a returner or even sometimes as a running back.
Receiver?
Now, yes, like this dude was an electric player for them and a team that did not have any of those. Yes, it was annoying the way he was used sometimes, and it was like, oh God, we know what's going to happen. But dude was like, he was an electric player, and it's a shame that we're in the situation where we can't afford to pay this guy $3 million. Like, it's like, God, that's pathetic. Like, they're so nobody still knows how the fuck they're going to afford the draft class.
There's still only $1.5 million under the cap, man. There's going to be another.
I've seen less. I saw $250,000.
Yeah, I saw $1.5 million today, but
I don't know. It's obviously they had to be under it, but I saw that they were like 27th in the league, in closest to the cap. And it's just like, how could you be like this and have so many needs? And so
conviction, collaboration.
Well, yeah, it's like, what are they going to do? They're going to have to talk Akeem into some restructure. They're going to have to, I guess, figure out something with Jimmy Graham. Like, I don't know. They can't kick.
It's going to be interesting to see what Pace does in this draft with his back against the wall, because this is an important one.
Yeah, but again, I still don't believe that they're on as hot of a seat. And I know I've said this plenty of times, but I think that, the feeling is, well, we missed on Mitch, but that happens. And we trust these guys to take another swing.
Sure, you need a swing by starting off with the draft.
So now the rumors are very much that they are, really going to try and trade up. My thing is, they have to have a plan for all the scenarios, right? They have to have a plan for all scenarios. What if this guy falls to us? What if all of a sudden, we can move up to 7? What if we can move up to 15? What if we can move up to, they have scenarios for all of it. What if we trade back? What if, so people think that it's like, oh, they completely get tunnel vision. I hope that's not the case. Pace, I don't trust him to not get tunnel vision sometimes, but I think, you saw last year how he was forced to be smarter with less resources. Maybe he learned from that. I hope.
It's not like we're the only team looking for a quarterback, though. You got the Patriots ahead of us and Denver, so those teams are going to be able to move up easier if they want to.
Right, and then people have, said Washington could be a sleeper to move up and try to snag Lance. I just don't know. I just know that the draft can't come fast enough because everybody's
such a long. It doesn't seem like it's just dragged, man. Like,
yeah, it's insane. Like, it's absolutely insane, and the way that people are, just fucking the way they talk about these fucking dudes. Some dude, made a fresh burner account to come on and yell at our boy Patrick Sheldon because he doesn't like Trask. Like, some dude was just like, literally, he said, I just created this account to come on and defend Trask. Like, I'm just like, what is happening?
What was that? It's no Aaron Gordon.
No, Alex Gordon or whatever.
Or was it? I don't remember. Yeah. I thought it was Aaron Gordon.
Well, remember, but wow, what it is? But Sheldon has an ability to get people stirred up because it was his mom that was going at Alex Gordon's mom or Anthony Gordon.
Anthony, that's what it is.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon. Yeah. Anyway, and nobody fucking knows. Louis Riddick today was on Mike Greenberg, and he was talking about how things can change up until the last moment, and how when he was part of the Redskins organization in the front office of the Redskins, he pounded the table for Sean Taylor, and they wanted to draft Kellen Winslow, and half of the group wanted to draft Kellen Winslow, and he basically said, he's like, I was yelling, telling these guys that, if I know anything about scouting players ever, I will stake my complete reputation that Sean Taylor is going to be a game-changing player. Like, and they listened to him. They changed, you know. At the end of the day, he won, and they drafted Sean Taylor. And he was right. I mean, Sean Taylor was, like, next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, but, and that's, so that kind of shit happens. I mean, it's not just set in stone. It's extremely fluid, and things go wrong. I mean, we see teams forfeit their picks. Vikings. I mean, like,
didn't get them in the booth in time there, but
to me, they still don't get enough shit for that. Like, you literally missed a pick. Like, how in the world can that happen?
Twice. This happened to them twice.
It's insane. Like, they do not get enough shit for that. The Lions absorb so much shit, but it's like, you know, the Lions, as bad as they are, at least they, you know, they have some Hall of Famers every now and then. Like the Vikings, I mean, who the fuck have they had since Fran Tarkenton?
Chris Carter,
Anthony, what's his name? Fucking Adrian Peterson. Like, you know, John Randall. I don't know.
Randall McDaniel.
Yeah, they need more shit. More shit needs to be given to the Vikings. Wyatt's left the chat, but he'll be more shit.
He'll get that on the pod later. That's his little birthday present.
Fuck the Vikings. Happy 21st. Drink one for me.
Amen.
So yeah, what else we got? We got anything else? We'll wrap it up.
I think that's about it, boys. We'll just go over, try to like see what most people are mocking, the guys that do this for a living, and try to go through them next week. And then we finally get to figure out what the moves that are made the following Thursday, at least the first round.
Yeah,
I'm sure the other 500 Bears. Yeah, the other 500 Bears podcast will be going live too, but it's normally our night, so.
Tonight is your night, bro. Tonight is your night, bro. That's it.
I didn't dig the hat, Brian, but it's starting to warm on me.
I like it, man.
I can't reverse my position on the hat. It looks like a fucking truck gas station.
Dude, the city hats were just so fucking badass last year, right? I mean, they're just these are.
That's 2 years ago.
That is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No, they had that neon shit. I didn't like the shit last year.
No, those are whack.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, those are whack. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. It's just another episode of The Tailgate Show.
The Bears.
The dreadlocks.
The Fields. I don't know.